Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Inside the Mirror podcast. I'm Kyle David, your host. I'm back with another special guest. This is somebody that, as I was just saying, I feel like I have a soul tie with. I feel like I have a bond with. And we have never actually even met in person. Not yet. But today I have with me my good friend, Cathy Caplener. Cathy, in my mind, before I let you go, I'm going to describe you. I think Cathy is a visionary, an empath, and a kind soul that really wants to impact the world for good. So that's my intro. Cathy,
Cool.
hi, how are you? Thanks for being on.
I'm fine, Kyle. Thank you so much. It's so nice to see you because we've talked online, and it's good to see your face and your smile and your energy. And yeah, we connected on LinkedIn via another friend, David Angelo, right, of David and Goliath. And it's when I started the Billboard campaign, and I was scared. I remember I was scared about, like, is this going to work? Am I being too selfish for asking for donations to get a billboard up? And you came right back and you're like, girl, you're on it. Stick with it. This is your purpose. And so thank you. I mean, that's how we met. You know, you're just like, you're my support system as a stranger. And that's what this is all about, right? This is like
100%.
Yeah. So thank you very much. And you're just so lovely, and your energy is great, and your positivity. And I'm his publicist, by the way, everybody. So, I feel like I'm like, and David, let's see, we have a speech in an hour, and let's go, man.
I'm ready. Take me away. Well, Cathy, you're a special person. I know more about you than anyone listening, I think. Can you give us, like, the quick, or not quick, however long you want to be, just give us your origin story, where you came from, how you became who you are, and kind of what drove you to be who you are today.
Okay, let's see if I can do my elevator pitch. So I'm a twin. First of all, I'm a fraternal twin. I've got a brother named Steve.
That's cool.
And I was born very small and stuck in an incubator for 4 months. And that's guided my life, the way my body ticks, my nervous system ticks. And I'm kind of like in this fight or flight a lot, and I have to, like, learn to, like, be. But it's the way I was born kind of, like, structured my life as far as, like, how I took on life. I was a high achiever. Still I'm a high achiever, but much different now. Went to the 1984 Olympics as a runner, just like a nobody, just kind of came in and was brought on by Nike. I got a tennis scholarship for college. I lived in San Diego, taught myself to play tennis, felt like Victorian as a dyslexic, had all these amazing things, but I never felt that I was doing amazing things. And so that's why I think you and I have connected. I studied public relations in college after running and playing tennis. I had to get some schooling in there, and studied public relations and started my career in Silicon Valley. And after about 8 years, I'm like, I've got to get out of here. It was just killing me. It was just my soul was so unhappy. And I thought, what is going on, Kath? You know, you're with these amazing thought leaders, and you're introducing amazing products. And I thought, what's missing? So I quit one day, a high paying job with a PR agency. And the next day I'm running on the beach here in Los Angeles, where I live in Redondo Beach. And I started a company called Be Cause PR, 3 words. And my mindset was, it's for cause and effect. Is what I want to do is help people lead and with their purpose so they can make a social impact in the world. And this was like 1997 when I started this. So I was early as far as purpose-driven companies, cause-oriented companies, way early, right? So when you hear Simon Sinek say, it's all about the why versus the what, I was kind of one of those people looking for the why. And that's why I felt like such a soul hole in Silicon Valley, because it was all what, how fast can we introduce the latest monitor, or the latest Apple product, and so forth. So I followed that, and 23 years later, I'm still running Because PR. And now purpose is a big thing with companies and people, like leading with purpose and right. It's a big thing. Now what we're finding is people need to walk that purpose walk versus talk the purpose walk. Or talk to the purpose talk. I'm sorry. So when you look at, the Black Lives Matter stuff going on, the Me Too movement, and my campaign called You're Enough, it's all about empowering the individual to know that they are amazing. They have purpose. They are the purpose. So let's see, I've been in PR like 30-ish years now. And so Because PR is what I'm doing now, and also leading purpose-driven campaigns on the site. How's that? Did that go okay?
I think everything you do is amazing. So I'm biased. I love, though, I did not know that you were an Olympian and that you were a college tennis player. I like this. I was raised in athletics too. But I noticed that you said some things, and I don't even know if you know, but it sounded like you were an underdog in both things.
Yeah, I
And it
was an
sounded
underdog
like,
starting out in life,
right.
Yeah. Underdog. Lived in a family where it was my single mom raising us, and we were just kind of on our own. So with you, like sports was my way to just survive and an outlet. And then my twin brother, unfortunately, went to drugs and alcohol. So we went two different ways. But yeah, I didn't have the family upbringing where I was taken to my tennis, classes. And plus in San Diego, that was an intense city to play tennis in, right? Because everyone was tennis. But I didn't have the support system I needed. So, for instance, when I went to the Olympics, I ran all the time like Forrest Gump. I swear I just ran everywhere as a kid. Didn't have a car till I was 27. And I was fast, but I wasn't running to be in the Olympics. Tennis, I was teaching myself that was a way for me to escape a really yucky life. And I taught myself, and then I got like number 6 on the team. There's only 6 players, Division I team. And I couldn't even hit the ball back when I got in the courts. My freshman year, someone gave me their graphite racket and like, here, try this. I'm like, oh, okay. I was always kind of like on my own succeeding. And so I think the tone I'm bringing out is like, I didn't have that support system, and I wasn't taught to feel like I was enough. I had to do more to feel like seen. And I think that really, like I said, goes way back to those incubator days. I really do, where you can imagine where you're with a twin for those 9 months, and then all of a sudden you're born, and then he's gone, and my mom's gone, and I'm in this box. There's no one there, right? And I think I've always kind of had that, like, it's not like does anyone see me, but I want to be seen, but I don't want to be seen for the wrong reason. I don't want to say I'm an Olympian, I play tennis, right? It's kind of like those are neat things, but the why I did them is very, very powerful and healthy, as a way to grow and heal. That makes sense. So like the Billboard campaign's the same thing. It's a way that I'm healing, and I know we'll get to that. So
and being seen,
and being seen, and I think we all want to be seen. We all want to be seen, held, loved, heard, right? And as that twin, who I wasn't even seen in the womb till like 5 months, so I kind of started like, "Hey, I'm here." My poor mom. Hey, yeah, my twin was hogging the technology wasn't great in the 60s, but she was like my size, and they said, "Miss Caplener, you're way too fat. We have to put you in the diet," and they starved her, and that's why I came out 3.5 pounds.
Wow, she didn't feed you.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, they said she was fat, and so that's why I came out so little. And Steve only came out 4 pounds, so we were like not even 9 pounds together. We're 7 pounds together. Crazy.
And they weren't aware that there was twins inside your mother?
Until 5 months. Yeah, then they saw me kind of picking around. Yeah.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy? And that wouldn't happen now, technology and all that. But I think it goes to the root of what we're saying is like we all need to be seen. We need to feel like we're being seen. And when I said high achiever, I'm say high achiever now instead of overachiever. I think that's a key phrase, right? I set out to be seen, but I think for the most part to be seen by myself. If that makes any sense. To be accepted by myself. But I wasn't one of those that, again, I'm going to be valedictorian. I'm dyslexic, and I found I was dyslexic, in high school, college, sorry. And I struggled, but I worked hard. Right. And that was my way of coping on so many levels, working hard. And, I didn't even really have goals. It was really strange. It was really strange.
Almost like a predestination.
Yeah. Yeah. She could put it that way. So I think now the way I'm living and working, I'm one of those people, and you're probably the same way, where animals come to me all the time. They think I'm one of theirs. Like when I swim in the ocean, dolphins come up to me all the time, and they're like, come play, come play, come play. And I really feel like I can see people because of my yearning for all those years to be seen. It's as eye contact is so, so, so important, especially under our mask right now, right? We're really seeing eyes.
It's tough under the mask to really see. I heard someone talking about this the other day on a podcast about the difficulty of when you are an empathetic person and human connection is kind of what you thrive on. In this time, it actually is affecting people. The masks, not being able to see expressions on other people's faces, it almost dehumanizes them. Now we need them, so it's a double-edged sword, because you do need the masks at this time, but at the same time, so that's why I think it's powerful what you're doing and what I've to do is put a message on the mask, or put a message on a shirt, or find another way to I don't want to say rehumanize, but but I guess that's the only word I can think of,
Another way to communicate, right? It's like,
Right.
yeah, I don't have masks made yet. I really think I should. Yeah, like I'm not a fan of t-shirts with sayings on them, but, and even wearing this Year Enough t-shirt, it's
I love it.
it's so powerful to walk around because you are a walking billboard. And it's not like, it doesn't say like Levi's, or Adidas, I'm just using sports things here, or vote for so and so. It's just,
Right.
bam, feel it. And that's, I think, yeah, that's the thing, like the feeling part we're lacking right now with the smile, seeing people's smiles. I take my mask, I move it up all the time and go, hi, and I just have to. I'm smiling at you. You're really cute. Hi, it's and I am somebody who needs. I really is that twin. Who, I mean, I guess after 4 months in the incubator, apparently the people might not be able to have a relationship in life because they don't know how to connect. So I attach, like I need to attach, and so this has really affected me. I live alone, and for the last, I was really sick with an inner ear infection before the pandemic, and I was in the house for like 2 months, and then the pandemic. So it's been like 9-10 months for me being alone in this house, and it's I will say I've had some tough times, real tough times,
Sure.
So,
and like you and I were talking about before this, is that as in this unique time in the world, in history, where so many people are facing struggles on every level, right? From our own individual struggles to the massive collective struggles to the national struggles, right down to our election. There's so many people that are facing so many tense things that are affecting them, that we need people like you and people that are willing to put out a message and get outside of themselves and say, I'm going to be a change agent of some type. Like you said, you don't even like t-shirts with messages, but it will impact somebody. Therefore you do it. Right. And I think there's power in that.
It's a weird thing because I don't know what my deal is, but it's like, I feel kind of like today when the billboard went up, the second billboard went up, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I'm like, okay, what's next? But not next in a bad way. I'm like, how can we keep this going? How can I help the person, And so I was walking down to Whole Foods by the billboard and wearing the t-shirt, and so many people just like, like just looking at it. And I was like, I don't want the attention. I think that's that thing again. I don't want the attention, but I want people to feel the words. So it's really a weird catch-22 with me, but we do
I want
need
to talk. I think you're right. I think what you're doing is one of the most commendable things that people could do right now. And I mean that with a lot of respect, because I think, again, we are living in a time where you very justifiably can spend most of your time taking care of yourself, right? It's very justifiably so. And no judgment to anybody that doesn't have time to do anything but focus on themselves and the 2, 3, 4 people around them, their family or their friends, because it is one of the toughest years on record. But for you to be there in that house by yourself for 9 or 10 months and still have an innate desire to not focus on yourself, I think there's not much more admirable thing that you can be doing right now.
I'm talking to myself all the time. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I think, I mean, this point's awesome, where I've watched your guest on your podcast and how people are really digging deep to find self and sit with self. And what does that mean? Some people, it means going out and volunteering that much more, right? Giving back that much more. Some people hunker down and they can't. They're just trying to cope. And I think with me, it's like, it's not surprising that I'm out running a campaign, to help people, because I want to bring people together. I want the connection to continue, right? So it in my psyche and my heart and my soul and how I tick, it makes sense that I'm doing it, right? And it's like, I have to keep saying, it's okay, Cathy. It's not a surprise that you're doing this. Accept it and be grateful that you've got something that you can hold on to like this, right?
Well, you have to remind yourself that you are enough.
Right.
That message cannot be overstated. And I think that leads perfectly into giving you a little bit of time to like, man, that worked out well. What is you are enough? I know what you're talking about. You mentioned these billboards and people are probably going, what is she talking about? Well, can you kind of dive into that? What you are enough is, what the purpose of it is, what you've done with the billboards, and some really cool things that I think are super cool that people could take something from. Just dive into it. What is it? Where to start? All of that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So You're Enough. Basically, I've dealt with depression throughout my life, and I was put on prescription meds a couple years ago, and I was waking up sad for years, going to therapy and so forth, and not really understanding what the heck was going on. Why was I sad, and why was I on meds? And one morning when I woke up really sad, I thought, no one should have to go through this. No one should have to go through these lonely, isolated feeling mornings. And so I thought, how can I help others? So I got out of bed and I ran down the gym, and on the way to the gym, I see this billboard. I'm like, that's it. Why don't I put the words "You Are Enough" on the billboard? So it's like a giant hug. That was the goal. Like, how can I give back? Let people know that they're not alone, that they're seen, that they're held. And so that was a billboard idea. So what's interesting is it took me about 8 months to even get this thing started. I interviewed people about what they thought about these words and how they lack in society, lack in their lives, or they're great in their lives and so forth. So I started a podcast, had all these amazing interviews, started handing out, just happened to have these, I feel like a salesperson, these wristbands. Actually, I have them in a darker blue. I made a bunch of these and started handing them out to strangers. And they're all over the South Bay where I live. And then the pandemic. And the goal was I was going to raise funds. And I also wanted to make sure it was okay with people. Do you think I can raise funds for a billboard? Who's going to want to pay for a billboard? Who's going to give you $10 for a billboard? And everyone's like, do it. And the stories, this campaign became about the stories that people had to share, not about the billboard. And so about the June timeframe of this year, I thought, I've got to do it, because I wasn't going to do it because of the Black Lives Matter movement going on and all the protests and the Me Too. The campaign couldn't have come at a worse time in some ways, as far as getting donations and trying to get exposure. Is almost like a Me Too kind of movement, right? And I didn't want it to come across that way. So in June, I thought, I got to do this. So and then on the journey, I had an ad campaign ready to work with me, and they ended up ripping me off and taking off, and I lost a couple $1,000s. And then I met this woman who just really my age, who really got what I'm doing with the billboard company. And she stayed by my side. I'm like, Jenna, let's do it. And she goes, okay, let's do it. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to raise $2,000, but let's do it. So I snagged a spot on Pacific Coast Highway here in Redondo Beach. And I'm like, okay, let's go for it. It was hard. It was really hard to raise funds because people didn't really get it. But the podcast really helped. And then I interviewed so many people on the streets, and that's where people were like relating, like, that's me. I'm that person. I can relate to her. I can relate to that mom. I can relate to that son. I can relate to that 14-year-old who doesn't think he's ever going to be enough, right? Yet again, it was the stories that were driving this campaign. So sure enough, got the funds. The first billboard went up on July 4th weekend, crazy weekend when we shut down our beaches down here, and people were mad and freaking out. And when that billboard went up and I was driving down to see it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so powerful. It's cobalt blue and white like this. And cobalt blue is like a transitional color of power, transition, faith, the ocean, water, depth. And the billboard just says you're enough. There's no website on the bottom. There's no call to action. And that's what people love about it. And that's what I wanted, to do. It's like, it's not about me, right? It's not about me getting clients, it's about us. And I will say that I was going to have a website on there under another domain name I have, and it was in the artwork. And I was really sad after I sent it into them and the billboard folks. And about a day later, I go, I can't do this. So I called them like, stop the presses, take the website off. So we got that off just in time. And then I was fine. Because again, I thought, I don't want this billboard up there with the call to action, making people think that it's an advertisement or that they have to do something to feel those words. Just feel those words, to your point, in any way you can. You're enough can mean you matter, you're okay, you're seen, you're loved, you've got this down, we're in this together. People take these words any way they want. And that's what's so beautiful about this, right? It's not like I'm saying that you have to be this to feel this. So that's the lowdown. And so the second billboard is, I can see it right here from my living room. Went up
I love that. That's amazing.
It's really cool. It's the location I wanted in the first place. And Pacific Coast Highway here in LA, it. It's very, very well traveled. We're talking about 100,000 views a week, 150,000 views a week of the billboard. So people are donating to it, whether it's via the GoFundMe page I have. When they buy a bracelet, basically 10% of the sales go to the billboard. I'm selling yard signs. People love mini yard signs, mini billboards. They're all over the place. Those go towards the billboard. T-shirts, I only did a little bit of t-shirts. It was kind of tough, but it's like donations come in various ways, or donations come in like you right now. This is a donation you're giving me by, talking about the campaign and spreading the word, or telling somebody today that you care for them, or you see them, or smiling at a stranger. That's what this campaign's about, right? It's not just about the billboard again. So let's just say, since that year's passed, I'm off prescription meds, feel better than ever. Apparently should have never been on them. And so part of this campaign is also towards mental health awareness, because we have a horrible epidemic, the new pandemic they're saying, which is depression
100%.
in our country. It's our number one disability. So 10% of all donations go to the crisis text line. And that's like your 911 text line. And so their traffic since the pandemic's gone up 90%. So yeah, 90%. And we haven't seen anything yet, right? We haven't seen the repercussions yet of like people not having jobs and not putting food on the table. And I will say it's been tough, right? So people wanted to feel like with this campaign, there's something they're given to. So when I put the crisis text line, it made people feel better for some reason. I'm like, good, we're going to give, donations to this cause. So that's it. So it's like the billboard, even if for just a split second you feel something, or you tell somebody a week later, hey, I saw this billboard and I'm thinking of you. You know what I mean? It's that word of mouth kind of thing.
And I love what I love the most about everything that you're doing, and even specifically, as you said, taking the website off the billboard. I respect that a lot, because again, it's about a movement, right? It's not even about a billboard. It's about the words on the billboard traveling,
right?
And then snowballing to the next person and rippling out. I think of a ripple as I see it. This droplet of "you are enough" ripples and continues to ripple. And I think that in a world where we're bombarded with messages from social media, from TV, from other people who have opinions, so many messages coming at us, and most of them, like you said, are very transactional. If you do this, you get this, or look at this, click this, hit this, say this, think this. And your message is very simply cut through all the BS, cut through all of the messages, and just to drop a little bit of hope on somebody. And a little bit of a nugget of whatever they need. Bloop.
Spot on. It's like we are, per Lynn Twist, she's an amazing humanitarian author, and she explains how we live in a scarcity society, to your point. So we get bombarded by 30,000 plus messages a day, specifically to us, that make us feel that we need more to be enough. We need to do more, look different, right? Drink more, eat better, eat more, have more Facebook likes, have more Instagram followers, you name it. We wake up in the morning like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get all these things done in the day? First thing, right? And we go to bed at night like, God, I didn't get everything done. We're always in this not enoughness.
Yes.
So this is what we're trying to break, right? It's like, you were enough the second you were born. Why has that changed, right? And to your point, society and what we live in is like, we're taught, even from like, remember like when you're 5 years old and you played in school, like to race to get to a chair, like remember what was that game called? But like circle chairs and musical chairs, right?
And then they pull one out.
Fairly early on, right? And from very early on, we had to compete for a friggin' chair, or we're out of the group, right? We learned so early on that we're not enough unless we win, unless we get more, right? So the Sure Enough campaign is like, hey, let's pull back. You're okay because of you. You're okay because of who you are as you. You don't need this brand new white t-shirt with blue, and white lettering. You don't need a house or a car to be enough as you. So it's a tough one to hold for a lot of people. Let me tell you, a lot of people don't want to go there.
Right.
And they just don't want to like here where I live too. It's like a lot of people like, gosh, you don't have to tell me I'm enough. I know I'm okay. They're the ones that you really want to say, just sit with yourself and just know you're amazing.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I think it's crazy because it's almost as if you kind of look back at history and even kind of just peel the pages back 50 or 70 or 80 or 100 years, I think we've rapidly moved it away from being enough right? Just because of technology and the speed of the world has the speed of the world has sped up. That's redundant, but the speed of the world has sped up because of technology. We're interconnected. We're bombarded with more messaging than we've ever seen.
Crazy.
So it's almost as if the world needs now more than ever to remember that you're enough, because we've been and we continue to be told we're not enough on a higher scale. It's like it continues to pile more and more. Like, I remember even when I got my first cell phone when I was 16, I wasn't bombarded with all these messages that affect my mental, you know? If I was a teenager now, my gosh, I feel terrible for these kids. How do they find any identity in this?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's really tragic what's going on right now. In our area, we lost 3 young boys, 14-year-olds, to suicide in the last 2 weeks. Damn. And due to isolation, for the most part, isolation, and the parents are saying, "Oh, this pandemic's really messed things up." But we're on the trajectory is not good. To your point, like, people are not feeling a sense of connection, as I said earlier, to self or to others. You know, and how can you, right? That's why the hardwiring, as we say, is so important. Getting out there, being around people, that hardwiring, the hugging, the smiling, right? All that, we need that. And the pandemic's making that so much worse, as we know, right? These people are feeling so disconnected, and then the detached from self is just a whole other story, right? Sure. Just how do you find self in a video game, or right, or 1,000 emails you get every day? It's just it's scary. Yeah. So this campaign, this billboard, is just a simple reminder, like, hey, I see you. Do you see you? I see you. Right.
So, and I think like this, sometimes my brother and I the other day said we would love for the internet to melt and everything to just reset to like 150 years ago.
Reboot.
But with that being said, the heart behind that is just in alignment with what you're saying, is that people need to go back to the foundation of just being a human and being enough. You said it. You're enough when you come out. We don't have, babies don't come out and the dad's not looking at it going, well, man, look at this nose right here. I don't know about that. No, parents are in awe. That's what happens when a child is born. Everybody is in tears or in awe. And it's perfect. There's nothing that has to be done differently. They're just like, this is a beautiful, innocent life. Perfect in every way. Enough in every way. And then as we get older, we move away from that. And the world needs this reset.
Yeah, it doesn't take long, does it? That's why I said, like, the musical chairs, right? It's like, if you don't have that chair in that classroom, you're out of the group. You're not enough, right? We're taught to compete for space in life right away. Sports, right? Competition sports, you name it. It's just like, we're always competing to show that we're better than others, right? And it's just, so this campaign, sometimes I feel like it's silly. Like, people like, I'm raising funds for Billboards, right? And so I'm going to become a 501c3 because people will donate if we could write this off. I'm like, okay, whatever, gotcha. And then when I see the billboard go up, I'm like, no, it's not silly.
It's not.
It's not silly.
It's not at all. It's not at all. This is what I think, and this is my personal opinion. But I mean, I think I'm right sometimes. But this is my personal opinion. This is why I got these masks going on. I'm telling people, and what you're doing. It's not about the physical object. It's not about the mask that says something. It's not about your shirt that says something. Again, it is about spreading a message in a time when people need it more than ever. Like, I feel like 2020, for me personally, has almost been like a gift dropped in my lap that I've been prepping for my whole life. And now I feel like it's time to execute. Does you know what I mean? I've always wondered why I'm so emotional and why I feel so many things and why I'm so sensitive. And, I've always kind of beat myself up, like, you're kind of a softie, and, all these mental things, like, kind of like you said, I've been trained up in life. Like, I was never manly enough, or I wasn't the best at sports and all these things, but I was always very empathetic and intuitive and listening and paying attention to people. And as I think about, I'm like, 2020 is like, I've been training for this my whole life. And now it's time to like go love people fully. Like you said, give them a smile, give them a hug. Like I'm like, that's why I'm doing good, is because I'm like, this is my time.
Interesting.
And you too.
Yeah, we talked about that early on when we met online.
Real purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's like, again, it's like the imposter syndrome I go through, where I'm thinking, this isn't enough. This isn't real. This billboard's stupid, and no one's going to donate, or it's hard not to take it personally when I wasn't getting donations. Right. And then sure enough, someone swoops in. Basically, I'd say not even a third of the people donating to these billboards here are from here. I mean, 2/3 are from somewhere else. It's crazy because they see the goodness in the exercise, right?
Sure.
They know that they're helping somebody. But like right when it got nipped and tucked, I was like, I got to get the funds. My mom and I have had a strained relationship for years, and we just started talking. And she was the last person to donate for the first billboards because how much do you need? I'm like, and she's retired, she's 80, and she lives up in Lake Tahoe, and she lives in a cabin, and she's all on her own, and she's doesn't have a computer, you know, she wouldn't even see this billboard. And I go, I need about 250. She goes, I'm writing a check now. And I'm like, I'm like, whoa, mom, no, it's okay. She goes, no, I'm writing a check now. And I'm thinking, we came full circle. Not that she wrote me a check, but she gets it, right? And but it was my mother who I hadn't talked to for years, writing the check to get that first billboard up. You know, I'm like, wow. So everyone is touched differently. Those who give are touched differently, right? It's remember like well, Lance Armstrong's, you know, Live Strong band, what that did for cancer survivors, people had cancer, people lost people to cancer or whatever. Just that whole connection, right, of that band, the yellow band. And this is the same thing. It's connection, right? For yourself to others, for yourself to yourself. Strangers, like people said, Cathy, okay, you're thinking this billboard's silly. Think how many people, those drive-bys or walk-bys seeing that billboard, how many people are affected? Yep. You know, that's good karma. I'm like, okay, whatever. But it's like, think of all those people that just, again, taking in those words and that say you donated $5. I've got kids giving me their piggy banks. Like, okay, I can only, you know, give you $1. I'm like, that's cool. This is your gift to somebody and yourself, because you're healing by giving to others, right? So when you said you think this is your time, right? You're healing, no doubt, to give to others.
100%. And this is a time where we need that. And I think people don't understand, once you get outside of yourself and you help somebody else, it's almost addicting in a good way, right? Yeah. The feeling of helping and doing something good that's not based on getting anything in return. There's no financial kickback. It's just the feeling of doing a good thing, slowing down, because you have to slow down your world to care about something right now. You got to slow down. And when you get outside of yourself and you really impact somebody, it's addicting. Yeah. And that's what life is all about, in my mind, is loving other people.
Yeah. I mean, all this research, you know, you look at kindness. Kindness is a big phrase right now. Big phrase, right? The study's been going on for years, obviously, but it's good for your health, your mental health, your physical health, your psyche, you name it. It's good to be kind. It's good for you to be kind.
It really is.
Cool, right? So game on for you. I'm really happy for you that you're doing this and that you feel like this is your time. I mean, it's like, I remember when I first met you, it's just the energy was coming through the text messages. I'm like, whoa, wow, this guy, is he for real?
And I was crazy.
Like, I was down. Yeah, I was scared and down and letting fear take over and thinking I was a failure doing the sign, you know, like, what am I thinking? And you just kept coming positive. I'm like, who is this guy? You know, can someone be this okay? Can someone be this happy? Can someone be this kind and, you know, supportive? And again, going back to that child who was on my own, right? You know, having to teach myself tennis and run everywhere and do really well in school is so alone. So having someone like you come around and say, hey, you got it, girl. You're rocking it. You're awesome. I'm like, whoa, what's that mean? And it's the same thing with the Year Enough for the campaign for people. They're like, they're reminded that again, I keep saying that we're seen. I think that's a key part of this whole thing, what we're doing, you know, our campaigns. People feel seen. You know, therefore loved and therefore enough, therefore, you know, I could keep going, but I think that's so key. Again, being seen in a sense of connection, just really feeling connected to self and others. So I think we just went in a circle there.
I think that, well, it's so natural with what we're talking about. It's so natural because we're both passionate about helping other people. And I keep repeating myself in life and I just keep trying to tell people, look, we are all born, this is my opinion, we're all born with this void or this hole in our heart. And when, as soon as you come out, like you said, you start being trained on what's going to fill the void, right? Money might fill the void, or men or women and boyfriends and girlfriends and status and positions. And like you said, likes on the internet nowadays for teenagers and TikTok followers and all of these things that at the end of your life don't mean anything. They mean nothing. no one cares about how much money you have in your bank account when you're gone. People will care about it for a week as they divide up the estate, and then poof. You won't be remembered for that. And something that sits with me all the time, I think my dad or my grandfather told me this, is that at the end of your life, this is not some profound thing, it's very basic, is that at the end of your life, you'll be remembered for the way that you treated other people. People will remember you when they think of, oh, Cathy, she passed away. She was the lady that did the You Are Enough billboards in 2020. And that was this thing that helped me get through the year. Oh my God, I love that lady.
Yeah.
And I could be like, oh, Cathy, she had those glasses and that cool watch. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And if we could reframe everybody's mindset, we would immediately change the world. But that's what we're doing.
That's what, I mean, it's like we're trying, right? And
that's our attempt.
It's so true. What we're doing here, David, is we're helping people look in for a gift versus looking out for a gift. And looking in for the gift is seeing, again, the beautiful self that you are. Right? That's such a huge gift if you can do that. And it's not easy. Every day we're seeking, this is the other thing, the timing of this could be more better or more perfect, however you want to put it, is, gosh, where is it going with this thought? We're all equal when it comes to feeling like we're enough. We're all struggling. You get the millionaires, right? The successful businessmen and women. I don't care how much money they have or how well they're doing in the career. Every day they wake up in one way or another, striving to be more, striving to be enough,
100%.
Seeking that enough. And here comes the word again, purpose. What is my purpose? And what we're trying to say with this campaign and your Be Kind campaign is you are the purpose, right? You are the purpose. It's not, my purpose is to run this campaign so I make people feel happy. No, no. You know, the purpose is for people to understand and feel that they are the purpose they're seeking, right?
That's powerful.
So, yeah, that's the number one purpose, right? I mean, if you don't have that, then you won't find the purpose to help, like maybe start a nonprofit and feed the hungry or whatever. You got to believe in self and your purpose to be here.
100%.
So that's what I think a lot of us we're not seeing. I keep saying feeling. We're not feeling that we are the purpose in the first place. We were born as purpose. So
I think that's amazing. I think that's super powerful, because I think even if you were to strip away all of the good intentioned things, with anything that any great thing that people have built has purpose behind it, right? Bill Gates, he didn't just throw things like a whim and just be like, oh, I hope something works. No, he was very purposeful. Steve Jobs, purposeful. Gary Vaynerchuk, purposeful. These great minds that I think of that have built amazing things or created revolutionary ideas had purpose in that. They're like Steve Jobs, right? Purpose to change the way people use technology. Not just there has to be purpose behind what you do, and it's great. But I think the most purposeful thing you could do is to love yourself and to love other people.
Right. And it's like Steve Jobs was my first boss, believe it or not. And
really,
he liked to throw things at us when he was mad. So thank goodness I was an athlete. I caught things and I was also like in trouble. Catch right back at him. He loved it. He's like, and he couldn't catch. He was a horrible athlete, right? Like,
that's hilarious.
Back at you, dude. But he was the guy that, again, I mentioned Simon Sinek, who talked about why versus what. Steve is all about why. He wanted to build cool products to enhance people's lives. Bill Gates was more about shipping more, computers than anybody else, more Windows products than anybody else, right? But I learned, I think, early on I've been very fortunate in my career to work with amazing thought leaders, change agents, who lived via their purpose, who worked for their purpose, right? One of my clients I'm name dropping here is Patricia Arquette, and I met her 10 years ago by just reaching out to her via Facebook, of all things, about a cause she started called Give Love. And it's after the Haiti earthquake, and her idea was to have shipping containers as temporary homes for the Haitians. There's like 500,000 displaced Haitians. And so she started on that. And the name of her company, right? Her cause, Give Love, right? And then the Ebola outbreak occurred. And so she shifted gears. Now she has an eco-sanitation. The cause is all about eco-sanitation, clean water, and so forth. But I've always gravitated towards these kind of people. Like, I could see that they have this purpose. Their why is going to be a what, right? But it's going to really affect people's lives. So yeah, we all have a why in us. There's that purpose, right? We all have a why. And it's hard to find in this what oriented world.
Yeah, that's so true. How have you been able to find your why as someone you're a seasoned veteran of many things, business and like you've said, that you've done a lot in your career. How
Mhm.
have you been able to find your why in a world of what's? I like how you said that.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's not been easy.
Mm,
And I think one thing is that mentality or the way I tick is like to survive. I've worked so hard in my life just to survive that nervous system is going, 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 going. So I've had to really teach myself to get out of that mode of running to something to survive, right?
mm,
So as I learn to sit still more and to feel my purpose and for me first,
mm,
that's how it's keeping me going, right? And when I realize that I am purpose, I don't get all caught up in the what's and I just continue to do what I do, which is live my purpose. So that sounds really woo woo. Um,
no.
not to look for the what's for the last year, I've been looking to get back in a corporate job. It's
Hmm.
not going to happen. I don't belong in
Hmm.
corporate America. I left that, 23 years
Hmm.
ago.
Hmm.
So it's like, I go, Cathy, so what is it? And so this campaign is something I've been hanging on to. I'm not getting paid obviously for the campaign, but it's
Sure.
helping me realize that I'm taking all these tools that I've gained for the last 30ish years in PR, whether it's branding, marketing, crisis communications, you name it, public relations, social media, writing. It's all coming together now
Hmm.
around a why and
Hmm.
helping people see their why. So that
Hmm.
because PR, that running on the beach that day and starting a company called Because PR, not even understanding the scope of what that meant, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's happening now. But so it's taken me a while to understand that I've always ticked this way
Mm,
and to lead with me purpose to help others find and lead with their purpose.
mm,
So I guess the success word kind of got me tripped up. It's like I get caught on that word a lot. Like I'm not successful if I'm not making a lot of money anymore, but I'm learning
mhm,
not to think that way anymore. Right.
mhm, mhm,
Just really stick with me and what I'm here on earth to do, and therefore how I can help others.
mhm.
So that's an everyday thing. So this campaign, helping people, we all have mental health challenges. Doesn't
Sure.
mean we're all depressed or we're all anxious, whatever. We all every day have mental health challenges. So
100%.
and yes, there's people that are really depressed and on meds and in those dark rooms like I was that morning. And but I tell you, when we talk to those people, and I say we because donors of the campaign, people buying bracelets, you name it, they're
Mhm,
now an advocate. They're part of the campaign. So we're
mhm,
all helping one another with our mental health challenges.
mhm,
So there's my purpose. It's always been from day one of being born, sent away from my mom and my brother, alone, sad, scared. How it was with me all my life, and then today I'm like, okay, it's now time to really help others know that they're just not alone. They'll never be alone. And you know how you hear that all the time. You're not alone. You're not alone. Like, oh, screw you. I'm in
mhm,
my bedroom, sad, scared, depressed, on meds, whatever. No one gets
mhm,
me. I get that now. And I really want people to see that they're not, they're seen. They're seen.
mhm, mhm.
That was a really long-winded answer. I apologize. It's a
Don't
hard
apologize.
answer.
I think when you're passionate, you are long-winded. I think that I struggle with that all the time. People are like, "You talk a lot." I'm like, "I'm passionate. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna listen to you."
There you
But
go.
I want to say two things. First of all, what I heard you say that I thought was super powerful is basically that just success has to be redefined, and you redefine success for yourself. And if we were
Mhm.
able to get everyone to redefine success, success is not money. I mean, you've had money. I've
Mhm.
had money. I know people have had a lot of money. I know
Mhm.
a lot of people that had a lot of money. All of them will tell you the same thing that you said. That money is not important. Those things don't matter at the end of the day. It's a resource. It's nice to have
Yeah.
and to use
It's nice
for
to have.
stuff.
Comfortable. Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
have an entire society and culture that is chasing a bunch of money and people dropping off the cliff when they find out there's nothing there,
Yeah. It's an
right?
illusion. Money's
It's an
money's an
illusion.
illusion.
It
Mhm.
is.
It really,
And
really.
when we can redefine success starting at a young age and teaching kids values and morals and what really matters in life, which is again learning how to love yourself and how to love other people. If we
Mhm.
had education systems that were teaching that and we're focused on that versus focused on, all right, now we're going to launch you and the best of you got to get the best jobs, and if you don't get the best jobs or the best degree, well, you're not enough. You aren't
Yeah.
enough.
That's why I
And
think
we
of the
have to
play,
flip that.
right? Yeah, and the kids are struggling now. Like those kids coming out of college or just about to go out of college, like, what do we do now? Our jobs aren't. We
Yeah.
can't get a job. And it's like, we grow up. We go to like elementary school to go to junior high school, right to high school, graduate, get that college degree. After college, get that career. Then we start saving for the 401k.
Mhm.
Right. So we have all these timelines, but there's nothing in there. It's like, where's purpose in there, right?
Yeah.
So you see all these people, this is hence the pandemic and the depression and anxiety going through the roof. It's like people don't know what to do
Yeah.
if they can't drive every day to that job that they think makes up for their purpose, that is
Mhm.
their purpose, to drive to that job. And granted, again, I get it, right? We need to connect and all that, and that's part of a routine.
Sure.
No
Right.
agreeing, definitely get that. But the job is not your purpose,
Right.
you are your purpose. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, so money, it's an illusion because like, right now financially I'm not doing awesome,
Mhm.
but I'm making a difference for myself and others. And that's worth so much more than, a $200,000 a year paycheck, right?
Mhm.
It's
Amen.
you can't put the two together. You just can't.
No. If we were able to replicate happiness inside of a currency, we would have already done it, right? And we would just
Yeah,
issue the currency to everybody and say, "Oh, we found happiness. It's
love
in
it.
this. Here, everybody have one."
Love it. Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
But we can't reassign feelings to outside just physical manifestations or
Right.
physical pieces of material. You can't you but I get it because we're so indoctrinated by the dollar and the drive, and we've been that way as humans since in history, right?
Sure.
When, in the ancient days, you wanted to have more treasures and you wanted to move
Yeah.
up in the political spectrum. So it's like we've always, as humans, chased after the wrong things,
Yeah, we
right?
have.
Like,
I mean, wealth, you're right. It was always about how much money, you had to get how much money equated to who you were,
yeah,
right? And
self-worth.
like again, I'll bring up Lynn Twist. If you read her book, The Soul of Money,
Mhm.
she said, she worked, I can't remember the organization she worked for. It was the number one, like Mother Teresa was part of it, Feeding
Mhm.
America kind of thing.
Mhm.
Feeding the World. Gosh, what was it? The World. Oh, I should know it. But she goes, the poor people were the ones that had the most character and love for themselves.
Mhm.
They didn't see themselves
Sure.
as poor. And in our country, when we look at poor people as like wrong, stupid, not making it, not doing enough, right?
Less than us.
Less than, right? And yet they're probably the happiest people, or they know themselves so much more because
Mhm.
it's not about money, it's about surviving. And so how do I survive the best for myself, right?
Mhm.
And I really listen to that as far as, yeah, it's the money helps, but take away the money, to your point, then what? Right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Take away the career, then what? Take away
Mhm.
that big house, then what? It's still you. It's still you
Mhm.
on purpose.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's horrible. Money has created, you're right. It's about money all the time as far as
Mhm.
defining who we are. It's
Right.
crazy.
And then you live these 60, 70, 80 years, and some people don't realize till the end, oh my gosh, I wasted it. And
Hmm.
that, to me, that's the most heartbreaking thing ever. How sad is that? That somebody that I know or a family member of mine could potentially live an entire life chasing something that at the end they go, oh my God, there was nothing there. And then they die. How
Yeah.
sad is that? That's
Yeah.
why I think that people like you are people that will actually make a difference and change the world. And I know that's a bold statement, outlandish statement, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all that within 6, 12, 18 months, people like you have a large global or national or global platform because you've built something that's not about you. It's about other people.
Right. And it's like, yeah, and the other people, again, they're able to see themselves again, even if it's just for a second. It's so beautiful. Like when I walked down to the billboard this morning, I put my phone on, like, okay, everyone, I'm coming around the corner. There it is, right? And then this lady's looking at me and she looks, she goes, and she just like, just smiles, and like that
Hmm.
moment, we need those moments,
Right.
right?
Right.
And like you're saying, when the 80-year-old's like, at the end, not the end of their life, it's like 90 something now, right? Or 100.
Hmm.
And like, what were they seeking?
Hmm.
If they can't seek self, then they're not going to find anything.
Right.
Yeah. And it's tough. It's tough.
Hmm.
It's tough. One thing that's taught me that is meditation.
Hmm.
Meditating every day to slow everything down. It's such a
Hmm.
gift. It's hard sometimes, and it's not comfortable. There's a lot of crying that goes on and all that. Like, oh, okay, where'd you come from? Feeling, right? But talk about a gift to yourself, right? To sit still with yourself. And that's why these words, bam, just bam. When you see it, I wish you were here. You could see it. Let's get one up in Colorado, right?
Yeah. And Texas. I'm in Dallas right now. I'm from Colorado, but I'm in Dallas right now.
You're in Dallas now.
There's
right.
plenty of highways here with billboards
Oh
all over the place. All over the place. All over.
Can you imagine? Yeah, so you can be an advocate in Texas, right? And
I am.
That was one thing I forgot to say was my goal that morning when I thought of the billboard was to get a billboard up in every state before the election. And I was en route to making that happen because before the pandemic, I could talk to businesses and they're like, okay, it will be instead of like sponsored by, Whole Foods, it'd be held by or supported by Whole Foods. Keep them going up, right? And so like it's public relations for the company or the individual puts the billboard up, and you just keep them going. And I had people from all over the country saying, let's do it. But then the pandemic occurred and like, no, people don't want to, they just didn't want to do it anymore. So, which is sad. So, we should get one up in Texas. It's not as expensive as LA, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure nothing is as expensive here.
And you could probably get a billboard up fast.
We can make it happen.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That'd be great. Let's talk about it.
But you'd have your family of friends and family members and all that. It's a family that comes together to get this billboard up. That's what's so beautiful about it, right?
Right. When people connect, great things happen. Yeah. We are, and we know that cheesy old saying, stronger together, but that's true.
It's true. We're in this together.
We are stronger together. This life thing is just a big game. And if we're all playing against each other, we all lose. Right. That's my take on it.
No more musical chairs.
Yeah. Let everybody have a seat.
I know, what a stupid game to teach kids, right? I mean, I remember like the impasse that we are. I'm like, oh man, this is really not right. I remember like this, just a 5-year-old going, this just doesn't feel right. Just not cool.
I totally agree with you. As I think back, I'm like, that is silly. Like, why does somebody have to lose the game of chairs? Like, I don't get it.
You remember the kids standing there all by yourself, like they're
awkwardly?
I'm sure I was one of those kids too. Like, yeah, okay.
Me too. Or Simon Says, or any of these games where everybody keeps getting eliminated. You're not enough. You're not enough. You're not enough. You're not. It's just driven into us our whole life. I think as I think about it, I'm like, my God, that's the greatest thing we lack is that message.
Yeah. We're told, what is it? And it makes sense. But by the time we're 2, it's like, 2,000 times we're told, no, don't do this. David, don't do this. Kathy, don't do this. Don't touch that. Kathy, don't touch that. David, don't hit him. David, don't, what I mean? No. Right. No.
Right. And we need to say, we all need to be saying yes to ourselves more. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, not like do whatever you want, but like, yes, you can slow down. Yes, you don't have to be going all day, all the time. Yes, you can stop and ignore some things that are too much for you on your plate right now. Yeah. Yes.
Self-compassion, right? This is all about, like, the Instagram name for this campaign is self.enough. Because it's hard. You Are Enough is so used, right? There's like tons of sites and all that. So self.enough is the Instagram page. And a lot of times I'll just do the tag I'll use is self-compassion, self-love, self-enough, right? Self-enough, I'm taking a nap today. That's a self-enough moment, right? I'm going to go for my ocean swim. That's a self-enough moment. We've lost that so much because we think we're selfish or we don't have the time or just that enoughness. It's so huge in our life where we just don't think we have enough. Again, think about the minute you wake up in the morning. I'm one of those, I leave my phone upstairs, right? I don't bring it in my bedroom. And you're already in fight or flight mode. And the minute you look at your phone, you're going. Yeah. Your mind's going. And when you wake up, we're born as a species, right? We do have fight or flight minds, right? The cavemen, right? They come out of their cave and look for the tiger. That's just in us. And it's like when you wake up, say 3 a.m. and your mind starts thinking the things you have to do. You're already in this not enough mode the minute you wake up. Yeah. So how can we break that? Right? That's powerful. So if it's with a wristband, if it's with a t-shirt, if it's with meditation, right? If it's, I keep saying my ocean swimming is such a way for me to just be still and feel held and also get my ass kicked out there. But it's just that moment of feeling like I'm enough. I'm one with all. Right. I'm one with, there's nothing like floating in the middle of the ocean and looking up at the hills and, like Redondo Beach, Torrance, Palos Verdes Hills, you're in the middle of the ocean. You're just like, wow, I am so little, but I'm not. I'm kicking it out here. I'm awesome. I'm enough.
Mm-hmm.
How do you
Mm-hmm.
feel that? What do you need to do in the day to feel that?
Mm-hmm. I think
So,
that's powerful.
yeah, it's a toughie. And
Sure.
I think I'm hoping this pandemic, and we heard in the very beginning that this is going to be good for people. People are going to like reevaluate their lives, their jobs, their relationships. And I think now we're kind of turning a horrible turn. Like you said, we're spinning now. It's like, oh gosh, get us out of the spin cycle, right?
Yeah.
How do we get out of that spin cycle?
Mm-hmm.
How do we get still enough to know that we're okay, we're viable, we're self enough, right?
Mm-hmm. I think you've almost said the answer several times. From what I've taken from this is the answer is slowing down, resting, stop the spinning. And practically, how do you tactically do that? For you, like you said, meditation, which is a restful, peaceful state. You force yourself to rest and slow down and stop the spinning.
And to be with myself, which is a lot of us don't want to do. It's ugly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always
Mm-hmm.
pretty. There is
Mm-hmm.
crying. There is like, it's uncomfortable, right? And also, as you said earlier, with this campaign, telling someone that you see them and you love them and you care for them, or a stranger smiling at them, that's being mindful. That's our whole mindful point we're making, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be mindful towards yourself, but also mindful towards others, like with your campaign. Be kind. That, I was wearing the mask yesterday to go grocery shopping, and the kids are getting this, right? The kids are getting the You're Enough campaign, the Be Kind mask, right? Have you noticed that?
Right.
They're the ones like,
a lot more feedback from the young folks.
yeah, it's awesome. And they're the ones who need it the most. I shouldn't say that. But just that little moment of recognition or seeing the words, we're all being mindful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what the billboard's doing. That's what the masks are doing. That's what these wristbands are doing. That's what this podcast is doing. We're helping people just for a second being mindful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
what we're doing is, again, for me, everything that I'm trying to do with my life, because I was like you, I'm younger than you, but I kind of went down a similar path. I was in the corporate world. I was chasing that money. I was getting a little taste of that money. They're getting, getting a little bit of success, a couple of awards, and all of a sudden you think you're hot stuff. And I left. Just like you, I left. I was like, this is not authentic to me.
You knew, huh? How old were you when you
left? 26.
Yeah.
So I was young, but I had already had some years. I started in business when I was young. It was just something that my dad, and just the way I was raised, I was meant, right? Or I don't want to say indoctrinated, because I'm grateful for all that I learned about business at a young age. Yeah. But I went into it with this drive and this passion to succeed.
Yes.
Right. And my definition, and then going back to that again, my definition of success was off. It was money, success, power, position, all of those things. They were empty. So gratefully I learned that at a young age.
So you had the soul hole too. I think I quit corporate America at like 32 or something like that.
Pretty young still.
Yeah. So same thing, but I called it a soul hole. I was walking.
I think you're right.
Traveling the world. If you're working with Steve Jobs, thinking that's great. I'm like, it still wasn't enough, right? It still wasn't enough. But at least that searching for enough was not me wanting more money. I mean, sure, at times it was okay, I got to get more money, I got to buy a house, all that crap. But I still had the soul. And then when I started the company, I'm thinking, I still don't know what I'm doing. I had no idea what I was doing. I started my own company. I had no idea. I just started. In fact, Compaq Computer was my first client in Houston. I flew back and forth for a year. I flew back and forth. And then I'm like, I don't want to do this either. It's just like, this isn't what I meant to do. It's not working for a big company, right? So so you early on, you got that, but you pulled out and you said, okay, this isn't feeling right? It's not jiving. Did you know that why you just weren't happy? Did you really know that it was like you're seeking the success that really wasn't success for you?
It became apparent to me probably in the last year or two, once I got completely sober, because I don't know if you know my story much, but I also struggled with drugs and alcohol. I was what they call a high functioning, because I was still achieving at a massive rate, and moving fast and getting things done. But
you got that manic energy, right?
Yeah,
manic energy, you had to calm it down.
Demons. Yeah, but I had the demons with me. But as soon as I went to rehab and reset my life in a sober a mindset, within about a year to 18 months, 12 to 18 months, I was out of there. As soon as I got sober and got kind of a grasp on just, and again, everything in our conversation is almost circling back to the beginning of, as soon as I found out that I was enough, I didn't need drugs and alcohol and money and all that stuff, That's kind of the revelation that gives me chills as I think about it.
Yeah. You're not going outward, right? You're not going out for enough. You're going in for enough. Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild that we had this moment. But
Yeah.
that's it. It's when I realized that I could be okay with me regardless of the outside factors and the outside possessions.
It's hard.
As soon as I realized that, I respectfully said, I quit. And all the leaders above me and the above leaders were like, well, Kyle, maybe you're just having this, or maybe it's this, or maybe that. And I love those people still, but it was because they were trying to protect the business, and I was an asset to the business.
You were their brand, right? You were their brand.
Yeah, and they weren't able to see inside what I was really saying is this is not about business, right?
Right.
And some of those people have now reached out, and we're on the same wavelength. But
yeah.
But when you realize you are enough, and those 3 words hit you for real in your soul, you're probably going to change everything about your life, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Because it gives you purpose. It gives you a redefining of success.
You're enough really means you are purpose to me.
And you are successful.
Yeah. And what is success, right? If you are purpose, you live your purpose. That's all you can do. And it's awesome.
Man.
That's your job. That's your job.
You're an inspiring human.
Stuff enough.
You're one of those people that you remind me a lot of well, I guess in a different way, of Gary V. You're aware of Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm sure.
Gary V. Yeah, thank you.
I love Gary V.
Yeah.
But his, even though he's a successful businessman, an incredible mind, thought leader as far as entrepreneurial, the guy's a marketing madman. But when I think of Gary V, I don't think about all that stuff.
Right.
I think about his messages and the things he puts out on social media and how he actually is trying to impact the lives of other people. And it doesn't have any kickback to him. He's not looking for anything. And you're that type of person. You remind me of him because you're not looking for anything in return. You're actually trying to make a difference.
Yep. And you
and
are
I respect that a lot.
Yeah. It's all about we, right? It's all about we.
Right.
Not I. It's a we.
Right.
And I think, again, I'm going to go back. We're going full circle here, which is awesome. We're good at this. That incubator baby just wanted to feel we again, right? And sees the importance in life of connecting with people and having people connect with one another, so we feel like we're not alone and it's a we life. So we're doing it. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Thank you for what you're doing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Thank
now
you.
You're welcome. And I've got to get you a yard sign, the wristbands. You still didn't get your wristbands, right? No.
Not yet.
Oh gosh, it's scary.
The postal service is overwhelmed right now.
Someone's, like I said, when I first started sending them out, they were getting stolen. So I'll get you a yard sign and some wristbands at least. And then the decals are coming too. So I'll get you a car decal, a little vinyl decal for the car.
Can you plug 1 time or 2 times or however many you want? Where can people go to support? Where can they go online?
True. See, I don't even think that way. Thank you. So I don't have a website. I do have a website actually, but it's going to confuse people. The domain name I was talking about is called Purpose Relations. I got that domain years ago. So I have a simple website called purposerelations.com. But if you just type in "You're Enough Billboard," I come right up. The GoFundMe thing comes up. There's a Facebook page, which I would love people to go to and share their stories. And this is hard. Like a lot of people just don't do it. But there's a Facebook page that has everything, all the podcasts, interviews with people, silly pictures of going on the street and handing out wristbands and so forth. So yeah, if you type in even Cathy, You Are Enough, it comes up. So again, I didn't want to have a website, and it's hard to have a website for You Are Enough because, like I said, it's used. So and then Instagram is self.enough, and it has the bio piece of how to go to GoFundMe. So yeah, so Cathy with a C, just Cathy with a C, You're Enough. Or Purpose Relations, and then Facebook. If you type in You're Enough, it's actually You're Enough as You Are. But if you type in You're Enough Billboard, it shows up too.
Cool.
So that's it. Yeah, just type in Cathy You're Enough Billboard, and bam, it's there.
Boom.
Bam.
Well,
boom.
Kathy,
you're
amazing.
David.
You're an amazing person.
David.
Thanks for sharing your time with us.
Thanks
for what you're doing. I want to thank you for that because
welcome.
You don't know. I guarantee it, and I will die on this hill. I guarantee you've impacted more people than you know. The amount of people that you have impacted, they're not all going to reach out. They all can't shoot you a text. They all didn't even know who you are.
They don't.
Like you said, it's not about you,
right? They're like, who is that? It's funny because the neighbors think it's a political thing. I've been putting up the yard signs with that we have the election coming up here, right? As well,
Right.
as you do too. And there's all these signs for vote for me, this and that. And then I put the you're enough sign in the middle. And it's a little sign. I've got the smallest yard sign you can get. And people are like writing on Nextdoor app, the neighborhood app. Who's got those blue signs around? Is this political? And it's viral. It's going viral. But
Perfect.
It's like not asking for anything.
That's the goal. That's perfect.
You got it.
Keep doing you, Cathy. I got a lot of love for you.
Thank you, sweets. You do.
Thanks for coming on.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye.